Hey everyone, in this video I will show you how to add attributes to your text. One of the reasons you may want to use the attributes to create a corpus is because when you only have a table of contents that's written up for written or spoken like this, that's really great to be able to analyze text based on the table of contents. But what if you wanted to uh, search and analyze things based on gender or by age? You can actually do that in WordCruncher with the bounds, the reference or attribute bounds. And this book specifically is already tagged for age, for date, for difficulty, gender, speaker, and so forth. And so we can do that for any of their books. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you quickly. I have this appended file of two different TED Talks. This is ideally for more than just two, but this is just a sample. And I can open that up in this. And if you haven't watched the video that shows you how to append multiple text files into an eTax WordCruncher book, then watch that video first. Otherwise, it's a little bit confusing on how to get to this point. So here I have my file, and it's got the two talks. And these reference codes here are what tell WordCruncher where a specific talk starts. So this V1 reference is showing where this first talk starts. And then if I find that second one down here, this is where the second one starts. So if I go to the top, I can actually add an extra attribute, which is called attribute. And I need to give it a code like this, and this is actually my mail talk. And so this is all I really have to do to add gender onto this talk. But it's also going to stop as soon as it hits the next V1 reference. So I need to add another attribute here and say G female. And the colon is important to say what kind of gender it is. So that's really all that there is, but that's not quite enough because WordCruncher doesn't know what that G stands for. So we need to be able to define what that G is, and we can do that in the suffix. And the suffix is really for defining all the things in the display and how your table of contents looks like, and so much more. One of those is the attribute tag, which I have here. And I can just make it look like these, but I need to be able to have three specific things in order to make it work the way that we want. So code is the code that I put here, G for gender, and then the name and plural are pretty straightforward. I'm going to call it gender, and for the plural, I'm going to put it genders. If I had multiple attributes that I wanted to put on, let's say I wanted to make this subject, then I can add an extra subject and say this is about something. Okay, and so all I'd have to do is add that and make sure to add an extra attribute code right here for S saying subject and subjects for the plural. But the important thing is to also have a semicolon in between each attribute that you add. Okay, so that's all I need. And then now I can go back to my indexer, and then I can index my TED Talks and add that into my WordCruncher library here. And then when I go to the search in my reference or attribute bounds, I can then click on gender and pick something like female. And so now if I type in the, I can then see all of the times that the word the is used for females only. So like I said, this isn't really interesting when you just have two talks, one is a male, one is a female, but it is much more interesting when you do have hundreds of talks or other data that is taggable for gender, for year, for anything that you want to be able to tag it to quantify and be able to analyze it that way. So that's attributes. I hope you found that helpful. I'll give a sample code in the description so that you can copy and paste that instead of typing it out like I did. Thanks for watching.